Hey everyone, Arthur Fantastic here. Playing in the background is Mac Tyson's compilation of Karate Combat and Karate Combat Moments to Sweet Victory by the Bikini Bottom Super Band. Uh, it's a sick compilation. You can find him on most social medias. Mac Tyson, he's on the Discord, he's on the Reddit, he's on Instagram, he's on TikTok. Check him out. He's always posting great content on the Reddit and one of the few, if not only. So enjoy that while I intro this video. Ooh, look at that knockout. Rossavine, boom, with that step forward lead left hook. Ooh, he's out. He's out before he hit the ground. Um, so one of the problems right now that many detractors of what karate combat is now, quote unquote, you can't see my quote fingers, their argument or their problem, their complaint, their criticism is having to do with stylistic choices, that is people's fighting style, what should be allowed in karate combat, and even what styles constitute what a karate style is. So this has been going back for a while, and it's not really something new. So it's something that people have not let go of, and there should be some kind of definitive way to discuss this way, like to have a definitive answer to what karate is. That's the question that we're going to be asking today. One of the questions. Um, who gets to define what karate is? Okay. Is it based on history? Is it based on organizational bodies of karate and their definition of what karate is? Is it up to an individual? Is it completely subjective and up to what an individual decides what karate is, and he gets to define what the karate is according to his style or aesthetic that he likes the most? Okay. We have questions to ask, like what is karate, like what counts as karate, you know what I mean? And it can get pretty deep here when some of the detractors are saying, oh well, only black belts from some styles of karate should be allowed to compete, um like only certain styles of karate and only black belts. And now we're getting into a territory where people will not accept even other so-called stylized versions of karate. They'll say it themselves, we're karate, but you won't accept me. So a lot of this has to do with modern choices, in my opinion, because what this video is going to be discussing and showcasing, because I'm not the first person to talk about karate, obviously, and I'm not a accredited scholar on karate. However, I will be using and pulling material from people like Jesse Encamp and his documentary, um, uh, old tournament footage, uh, katas, and different styles next to one another, and how that will also show karate, um, not only genealogy but as well as a more broader understanding. I want to broaden your understanding. I do not want to say, hey, you're not allowed to have complaints. I think a lot of the complaints, in my opinion, are, you know, bullshit and excuse my language, but it's the minimal word I could use for the way that a lot of these arguments, which have taken the Reddit down to a place where only Mac Tyson and few others will post any good material, while the rest of the posts are just people complaining and complaining about the same thing. Um, this is the first of a few, and we're going to get into that video now. Um, Buckle in. I hope that you enjoy. If you have any comments or critiques, go ahead and comment down below. I'm going to shift here and go to an actual comment to show a little bit of the milieu of the Reddit to prove my point in a way that this is an actual concern from people that I don't even just hear on the Reddit, but the Reddit is just like where it's coagulated. Uh, it's also in the Discord. It's in other places too. So there's got to be a way to settle this definitively. We can't just have airy definitions of what karate is. You know what I mean? Um, we have to have a defined term and an actual understanding. And once we have a broader view, we can then come to a conclusion that is more rational and less personal, emotional, and subjectively defined. And I think that's something that could be done for most things in most times, is by being rational, reasonable, and logical, and not be hypocritical, being consistent in our understanding and view of things. And by doing that, we can become more peaceful. I think this way of the peace, this way, the learning of the way, karate do, you know what I mean? Like, we're learning this is a part of the way, the do. Like, we go to the dojo. The way is the fucking port, is the largest and most important part of karate, and I feel like that's what's been lost. But before we get to any talk about the metaphysical, we should first talk about the literal, and that's why we're going to go to Jesse Encamp. See you there. In a recent post on the Reddit, calling out the Karate Combat subreddit for being one of the worst Reddits for its own fan base, it's an absolute cesspool. That's why we're here to clean it up. One of the Redditors actually responded half positively to me here. So, Turtle the Loser, I'm going to read him out here. Shout out to him. I understand your frustration and I get it, but I promise you, most of the community complains about the company not getting pure karatekas because they keep getting MMA fighters and labeling them as freestyle karate. Which, sure, we have actually freestyle karatekas, but having MMA, TKD, or even sambo fighters instead of keeping pure karate like the company intended is insane to me and hinders karate reputation. So my question was, so Taekwondo isn't karate despite originating from Shotokan? Um, this is one opportunity 9131, and he'll be a frequent flyer in this series. He says, yes, many styles originate from others and later become separate things. Kickboxing, almost all styles, also originated from karate, and no one says they are the same thing. Um, no one says they are the same thing. Taekwondo is separate from karate because that's how the creator decided it would be. The creator of karate, okay, decided it would be not including Taekwondo. Was Taekwondo even around? I mean, was kickboxing even around? That seems to be a an appeal to an authority of something that doesn't belong to someone. Karate was not just Fukanoshi's, by the way, guys. Fukanoshi was a person that we'll get there. We'll get there. But underlying this is, MMA isn't taekwondo, even though most MMA fighters have some background, at least in one of the traditional styles of karate. TKD, which is obviously, as I said, originating from Shogakukan, or even sambo fighters who also wear a dogi, and they have karate elements in there, as well as some sambo coaches having karate styles. Um, now we're getting into a place where your ignorance of like sambo, MMA, and kickboxing, and how integral to those styles karate is. Why aren't they karate? We're getting to a place where it's like, why is that not karate other than some person said so? I mean, that's like that's awesome for um copyright. You know what I mean? Like the Gracies wanted it to be Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, and I was a Gracie Jiu-Jitsu proponent for a long time as I trained in the lineage of Hoist Gracie. And it's like, oh, this is all Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. Yeah, sure it is. Um, but now it's belongs to more people. You know what I mean? It doesn't belong to Gracie. So like you can do Gracie Jiu-Jitsu and say you're a Gracie Jiu-Jitsu artist, but it doesn't belong to just the Gracie family. And to say it does is fucking selfish, as if all people don't have the same four fucking limbs and same neck that everybody else has. Okay, so well, I mean, God bless them, some people don't, you know what I mean? But that doesn't change that there have been styles of this type of kosen judo, you know what I mean? Um Grappling. And the same goes for other styles of karate. So we're gonna get more into that by first, and let me introduce Jesse Encamp. So this is Jesse Encamp's The Unexpected Origin of Karate. His channel is Jesse Encamp on YouTube. He's also Karate by Jesse on several social media as well. So definitely check his all of his stuff is so amazing. He's got TikTok. He's got all this stuff. He's been doing a lot of content lately with a lot of awesome knowledge. Go check him out if you don't watch him. He's way nicer than me. You don't have to like me. You just listen to Jesse Encamp. Thank you.
Modern karate is actually less than 100 years old because originally it was called Todi. That's what all the old masters said before it was modernized in 1936, before there were different styles, tournaments, uniforms, and belts. Todi literally means Chinese hand. In other words, if you practice karate today, you might actually be practicing a form of ancient kung fu. I know, it sounds crazy.
Yes, it does sound crazy, but is it crazy? I guess you'll have to watch that documentary. No, I'll give you a little bit more. So off the bat, we are told that karate is originally Todi, right, which is a collection of styles of people who fought certain styles of hand-to-hand combat within the Japanese islands, specifically Okinawa, right, during the Rin period. We're going to go to the Wikipedia and we're going to read that out for a couple minutes. But needless to say, the root comes from China. Okay? Let's go and watch a little bit more Jesse Encamp.
I'm looking for the traditional stuff. Suddenly, the music stops, and a practitioner of white crane kung fu enters the mat. This dude is moving in a completely different way. That's when I realize it. I'm watching Neipai, or Nipaipo as we call it in Japanese, one of the most advanced forms in karate. I literally became the Nordic champion with this exact kata. It's one of my favorites. But this version is so much more complex. The way we do it in karate is very minimalistic in comparison. Or, dare I say, simplistic. The rest of the demonstration was basically more wushu again, including some weapons, some ladies doing Tai Chi, and the reincarnation of Bruce Lee. Plus, a weird style of kung fu called incense shop boxing. But I didn't care about any of that because I had already hit jackpot. Wow, I can't believe I've already been exposed to one of the most important kung fu styles in the history of karate. I am so excited to learn more about White Crane Kung Fu. 2 hours later, it's time for lunch at Alex's dojo. I have the great honor of...
Okay, so once again, we're going to skip ahead, and we're going to learn a little bit more about karate. Here you go, a little bit of karate nerd info.
The communists burned down his father's belongings. That book is the Bubishi, or Wu Beiji, as it's called in Chinese. An ancient manual of combat, secretly passed down for generations. The old masters called it the Bible of Karate. I couldn't believe my eyes. Neither could Patrick McCarthy, the Western world's #1 karate researcher, who's dedicated his life to studying the Bubishi.
Bubishi is a very classical indicator of times long gone by, and because it is the only one written source that is extant today, which just happens to be from the same era as was the transitioning metamorphosis to which these Chinese practices and Southeast Asian practices metamorphosize into being what would ultimately become karate, is no coincidence. It's part and parcel of what it is. You can tell that is the original Bubishi right there. It's it, and that my presentation is almost verbatim the same as that.
According to the Bubishi, 2 specific kung fu styles influenced the creation of karate. The first and most famous one is White Crane Kung Fu, and the birthplace of White Crane is a village called Yongchun.
You're not any particular style. You are just the progenitor result of the years of transition. But you know this is the place. And I think that that's what you're going to see in Yongchun.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure.
So I'll let that play a little bit longer in the background. So I really like to comment on what he says there. You're just a progenitor, okay? You don't have a style. You're just a progenitor of a transition of style. That's what the lead karate researcher in the world, Patrick McCarthy, says. Okay, not me, not some dude that was in it, all right, while it was happening, and I'm like, oh, this is what it is, and then dies, and then it continues to grow. This is the lead researcher. So this guy, there's also there's a there's another thing he
In the
says
local
here.
dialect, it's pronounced Papuren. And yes, it shares both name and movements with the modern version you see in karate tournaments.
Just there's just so much overlap.
Alex lights incense and prays to the Crane Temple.
Okay, all right. This, oops, my battery is low. This overlap of the Chinese and Japanese style of kung fu slash karate is um, an ongoing pattern that you will see in this documentary, and it's so worth watching because we live in a time now where these things can happen. We're not in like the Cold War. You know what I mean? We're a lot of the West is basically doing okay, and people can do stuff like this and speak to people and talk about their style and be able to compare um this style of fighting in a way that maybe few have ever been able to do. You know what I mean? If you have even been able to do in their own country, let alone the earth across continents, and this uh, competition level karateka taking um, pointers from a kung fu artist in China because their styles are the effing same. when I say effing, you know what fucking word I'm using. What are we really trying to become here in terms of saying that this is karate but this isn't karate? Like, who are you, the arbitrary god of karate? Like, no man is the arbitrary god of karate. Karate is karate. It is his thing. It is this thing of empty hand. Originally it means tang hand or Chinese hand. Let's go more into in depth in here and see how in deep karate is with uh kung fu.
As we cool down with some tea, Master Pan reveals something very interesting.
Fang Qingyang's father learned Southern Shaolin, and then she added the crane movement by mimicking how the cranes moved, and she added that into it.
I couldn't believe what I just heard. You see, the Shaolin Temple is mentioned everywhere in the history of karate. According to the research of Patrick McCarthy, the old karate masters had up to 13 distinct ways of referencing Shaolin in their writings.
So yes, that's. I want you to take a look at the script on your screen, um, and see that these are not only let's just start. If I rewind it like 2 seconds, like not even. If I can get it that far. Oh no! Oh, oops. Oh, there we go.
Old karate masters had up to 13 distinct ways of.
That top one, Shorinji or Shorinji Ryu, okay? Those are still practiced today, okay? All right? And those names mean the original writing for Shaolin Temple is Shorinji, and Shorinji Ryu. I am so sorry if I'm butchering the name. I feel like I am. The original writing used to describe the Shaolin Temple style of self-defense, Kwanfa Kenpo, a tradition used by Keien Chotaku and carried on by Shima Bukuru Zenryu and Nakatazato Join. I want to say that's what it says. That's an N. I can't zoom in. This is not an actual document on my thing. So let's stop for a second. And that's actually funny because I had found a video that I was watching a demonstration from earlier today of someone using Shorin Ryu.
Referencing Shaolin.
And here is a screenshot of it. It's from K-Man. Oh, I'll circle it here on screen while I talk about it. K-Man 1109 on YouTube. I just so happened to come across them, and they had this cool little video, and they had seemed to have a whole bunch of shorts from different karate styles. So I followed them, so that's cool. Oh, didn't talk about what I wanted to talk about yet. Let me X that out. This is a screen cap of it. It's a short, so if I showed it on screen right now, it'd be sideways. So I would just recommend you go over there, give them a view, and check out this demonstration. It's totally brutal, totally awesome, and they are wearing. One person's wearing like a chest protector helmet, and what they're wearing is he almost looks like he's wearing a dogi, but he's also got like another robe on top of that. I wonder why. This is just a screen cap as well of the image being Google translated, and in the back there, if you can't see, I'll put it. I'll write it on screen. It's Shorinji Kenpo. Kimpo. Kimpo. Oops, moving around that little circle there. Kempo. And that doesn't even work. That doesn't even look better. That doesn't even look like I helped. It doesn't even matter. But it says Shorinji Kempo in there in the background, and we just shown in the previous screen that Shorinji is Shaolin. Okay, so Shaolin being the Shaolin Temple of China. Many argued for a long time that the origin of all martial arts was Shaolin, but that's a bit of a stretch. But we might say that the origin of all modern um, Asian, Southeast Asian, and including Japanese martial arts have to do in part with Shaolin. Just probably because how far it had, how many students it had, how far those students had traveled, and they live different lives. You don't just, not everyone's just like a martial artist. They're also tradesmen and soldiers and merchants. Who are pay a monk to teach them their children martial arts or something, and they learn too. These are all stories that kind of go back to different lineages of kung fu and karate. They trace themselves back to Shaolin, at least in part. Like, some will say that they also had a local style of fighting um, that's also mixed in. That's true for a lot of other martial arts styles, and that is true. There's tons of martial arts styles before Shaolin. People, as long as there have been people have learned how to fight, if that makes sense. As long as people have been around, there have been people that have been needing to fight, and so they had to train how to fight. This Shorinji Kempo, we've been having this on the screen for a long time. Let's go back to the original. Is that Karikana? Harikana? Okay, wait, it doesn't matter. They've got a different kind of outfit going on. They've got the demonstration. This guy's taking it right in the face with a shin kick, totally brutal. Um, I might even argue personally that what Shaolin brought to all these styles along the way that became new styles that fusioned with Shaolin, and then how that style then went forward as Chinese hand or Tang hand to Japan, and then fusion with their local fighting, is because Shaolin had a level of like personal development in terms of its metaphysical purpose as a Shaolin, which was a type of Buddhism, specifically Chen Buddhism, if I'm not mistaken. They practiced their martial arts not only for their own protection and the protection of others, but for self uh, improvement. And this is true of karate, and maybe wasn't true of people who were just had little styles that they fought and they developed or whatever. But this became I need to harden myself, and not only just doing my martial arts, but lifting weights. There are weights there at Shaolin, and doing different arduous static poses that we still see in karate today. Horse stance is horse stance in karate and in Shaolin Kung Fu. It is the same thing, though some people may practice it slightly different in how high or whatever. That it is a thing is because these modalities of training were passed on over time, because they are efficient, they work, and harden a person mentally and physically. And that is the type of what makes modern martial arts what it is that it's not only just kicking in the air, it's not only just memorizing style, it's learning how to sharpen yourself mentally and physically. And importantly, though some karate has McDojos, really not karate, has pulled out sparring, but this sharpen themselves against another person. Iron sharpens iron, like the Bible says. The wisdom is true. So, what are we coming to here? Let's go to the Wikipedia. Let's talk about that. Let's see what we come to. All right, we're at the karate Wikipedia. By no means the final source on karate, but we're going to read through it a little bit and get a little bit of background information that we can also temper against what we got from Jesse Encamp. Okay,
Karate.
karate. See, I'm saying it right, guys. Don't fucking keep telling. Don't tell me that I don't. Also, karate do. as I said earlier, is a martial art developed in the Rikyu kingdom. It developed from the indigenous Rikyuan martial arts. That's really Romanized, huh? Rikyuan martial arts called te, hand, uh, and I guess T with the I with the accent over it in Okinawan. So is that not te or is it T? What are they trying to tell me? Um, Under the influence of Chinese martial arts. Okay, so this is the second source, and it's got two citations here. So let's go to those citations. I guess I could click two first. History of Okinawan Karate by someone here on Wikipedia if you want to go check that out. And I clicked it again for some reason. Um, Traditional Karate Do Volume 1 Fundamental Techniques by Morio Higayano. I think I'm saying that right, but sorry if I am butchering it. While modern karate is primarily a striking art that uses punches and kicks, traditional karate also employs throwing and joint locking techniques. A karate practitioner is also called a karateka. Pause. So traditional karate, quote unquote. Let's get this here. Give it a little quotation marks. Okay, that first one looks like a dot. I don't like it. Nope, still looks like a dot. I refuse. That one also looks like a dot, and that's really far away. Yeah, there you go. Traditional karate also employs throwing and joint locking techniques. So for the people, first off, that are a part of this contingent, as arbitrary and out of place it may seem, people complaining about throwing techniques are absolutely out of line, and people who are completely just like unwilling to accept joint locking, aka the grappling portion, which were very short this last karate combat over in Mexico City. They are rejecting large portions of traditional karate. Okay, we're gonna get more into what modern quote unquote karate is, okay, but it is very different from what the traditional fighters did, and many of the problems of what they're rejecting in the karate combat now are they're rejecting what is also would you would consider it karate. Okay, so let's continue on. The Rikyu kingdom had been conquered by the Japanese Satsuma domain and had become its vassal state in 1609, but was formally annexed to the Empire of Japan in 1879 as Okinawa Prefecture. The Rikyuan samurai, Okinawan samurai, I don't know if I'm Ray, who had been the bearers of karate, lost their privileged position, and with it, karate was in danger of losing transmission. However, karate gradually regained popularity after 1905 when it began to be taught in schools in Okinawa. Pictured on the right is, man, I don't want to, Chomo Hanashiro, Hanashiro, an Okinawan master in 1938. Look at 1938, black and white. Look how great it's been kept. His style is not in front of his face, but more in mid, and he's got his foot and arms up. It's very self-defense. It's very, you know, I can see that very being a very reactionary position. And I can even see in my mind Hoist Gracie using that same position right before he would go for a takedown. He'd take that large forward kick, leaping forward kick into a double leg. This just seems like what this guy's doing. So it's not a bad position. It's almost like a Thai fighter mid teep perpetually, if that's his stance. Okay, maybe he was in motion when this picture was taken. regardless, I'm going here. Forward. Yeah, I read that part. During the Taisho era, 1912 to 1926, karate was introduced to mainland Japan by Gichin Fukanoshi and Motobu Joki. I've spoken about Motobu and Gichin Fukanoshi extensively on this channel. After this next portion, I'm going to uh, go aside and tell a story about Motobu and Fukanoshi. Karate's popularity was initially sluggish with a little exposition, but when a magazine reported a story about Motobu defeating a foreign boxer in Kyoto, karate rapidly became well known throughout Japan. Just a correction to this, it would actually reported Fukanoshi, here's my side, as the person who defeated the foreign boxer, not Motobu. So Motobu got so pissed off about this, he went up to Fukanoshi's school, found him, and beat the shit out of him. Okay, I will not spare you the description. You can go look that story up for yourself. It's such a interesting factoid about um, karate history, you know what I mean? Not everything was like, oh yes, we're nice and civilized and we fucking shake hands. Okay. He went over there and whooped his ass because he was taking the credit, you know what I mean? And he can act like he wasn't taking the credit, but he was taking the credit. And what later would become the explosion in karate would really be given to Fukanoshi and his ability to um use propaganda and popularize it, as opposed to Motobu, who was a better fighter and had a harder style of training and for his students. So they were, you know, but that doesn't mean that Fukanoshi didn't create good students and that Fukanoshi couldn't fight. It's just that Motobu whooped his ass, and that was a fact of the matter. But people were drawn to Fukanoshi's style and the way that he cultivated his style, as opposed to Motobu, who was a better fighter, beat Funakoshi and should have more, I guess, notoriety, but he doesn't get the notoriety he deserves. He gets some, but he doesn't get what he deserves, in my opinion. In this era of escalating Japanese militarism, the name was the Japanese militarism. The name was changed from the kanji right there, Chinese hand or Tang hand, to that right there, which is empty hand, both of which are pronounced karate in Japanese, to indicate that the Japanese wish to develop the combat form in Japanese style. We'll go more into that later on into this Wikipedia as we read on. After World War II, Okinawa became 1945 an important United States military site, and karate became popular among servicemen stationed there. The Okinawan style being way different from the style up north that Fukanoshi was cultivating. But that is a story for you to go for you to investigate. The martial arts movies of the 1960s and 1970s served to greatly increase the popularity of martial arts around the world, and English speakers began to use the word karate in a generic way to refer to all striking-based Asian martial arts. Karate schools, dojos, began appearing around the world, catering to those with casual interests as well as those seeking a deeper study of the art. Karate, like other Japanese martial arts, is considered not be only about fighting techniques, but about spiritual cultivation. All right, guys, I'm just going to show you these. Uh, Igami Shigeru, the heart of Karate Do. Okay. Shoshin Nagamine. Yeah. Okinawan Karate Do. Okay. Spiritual cultivation. Do being the way. Okay. To my Torah audience and Christian educated Christian audience, those you may be familiar with the way. Okay. If you're not, then look into that. Many karate schools and dojos have established rules called dojo-kun or dojo-kun, which emphasize the perfection of character, the importance of effort, and the respect for courtesy. Okay? Karate featured at the 2020 Summer Olympics after its inclusion at the Games was supported by the International Olympic Committee. Web Japan, sponsored by the Japanese Ministry of Foreign Affairs, claims that karate has 50 million practitioners worldwide, while the World Karate Federation claims that there are 100 million practitioners out around the world. Going on the side here on the right, you'll see some Olympic style karate world style. Oh, okay. So that is not Olympic. I don't know that what that one is. That might be more. It looks like point sparring though, at which Olympic karate is. But I just want to highlight real quick before we go on. This respect for courtesy is not like if you're not. I think Boss Rutan said it the best, so we're gonna go there real quick before we continue reading. Okay, this is an old promo from Karate Combat with GSP and Boss Rutan, and they both say amazing. What they both say is, I'll just let them speak.
So, George, how did you get involved in karate?
Well, I started karate as a self-defense. Then self-defense became a passion. Passion became the way I put food on the table. How was it for yourself?
This is the first sport I started training in karate. Then I started meeting all these great karate guys, and you realize that everything you did, or what I did in my past, even in mixed martial arts and in Thai boxing, everything comes back from karate. Like my punch, I don't have a punch that I turn. I don't like that. It's telegraphing. If you tell people to twist your hand, they start doing it here. So once I see an elbow move, I'm already out of the way. But if you punch like this, like they do in karate, well, everybody's asking me, why did you learn that punch? How did you come up with that? I go, no, that was karate.
That's right. Karate is extremely efficient for fighting, but also for everything you do in life. Not only because of a self-defense, because of the mentality, discipline, perseverance, and hard work. That's what you get in karate.
And the respect. That's what I like as well. We had a show in Greece, and this one guy was, they happened to weigh in, he was in his face, and he was saying the most horrible things, and as soon as they stepped back, both had a smirk on their face, they bowed at each other, and they went off. You see, now that's what I sometimes miss in mixed martial arts, or in boxing, or in Thai boxing. You miss the respect.
That's right, and we all know that karate practitioners have some kind of brotherhood in between each other.
Oh yeah, everywhere you go.
That's right.
So, guys, the respect courtesy idea here is not about fucking unable to talk shit to your opponent, as they would say, or getting in their face. Is the respect of waiting for the fight and respecting the brotherhood of what is. You can get into your opponent's head. Miyamoto Musashi would get people mad on purpose. He'd show up late. He'd show up early. He'd fucking insult them. If Miyamoto Musashi can't be used in this discussion of karate, you know what I mean, from Japanese culture and the many karatekas who are brazen, you know what I mean. I think a lot of like third generation maybe uh martial artists from these lineages like Gracie Jiu-Jitsu and karate, like a couple generations that they forget how brazen and wild these guys were in their youth. You know what I mean? Like the Gracies fucking jumped people all the time. Like they fucking there was a dude. Oh, what's his name? Tatu in Brazil who was a catch wrestler and he was great. I'm pretty sure they fucked him up with like chains and like a lead pipe at one point and the Grace, that's what Grace, but they portray themselves as these like, oh, we're always gentlemen and never did anything like that, you know what I mean? And not, and I'm not condoning what they did, but let's not act like what fighting culture is like sometimes, right? And the respect is not having fucking disagreements and fighting it out or whatever. It's fucking not taking it to a point where you fucking break somebody's legs with a fucking lead pipe or some shit, or or stain the reputation of fight promotion like Karate Combat. that's up to the individual, and we can enforce that with personal shaming and not wanting certain fighters to come back. But we also have to understand that that's not up to everyone to be perfect. You know what I mean? Because no one's perfect. People are gonna fucking have problems. You know what I mean? And the way of karate is a spiritual cultivation of character and respect and discipline and effort. Let's read on into the Wikipedia. Diving further into this karate topic, we're going to go into the etymology. That's the next topic, right from where we left off. So, originally in Okinawa, during the Rikyu Kingdom period, there existed an indigenous Rikyuan martial art called Te, which means hand. Furthermore, in the 19th century, a Chinese derived martial art called Tode or Todi, Tanghan, emerged. According to Gichin Fukanoshi, a distinction between Okinawan Te and Tode existed in the late 19th century. That's according to Fukanoshi, who wasn't there. With the emergence of Todi, as we that was a pronunciation that Jesse Encamp was using, so I'm going to try to use that. There's a DE at the end there, so Todi. Excuse me. It is thought that Te also came to be called Okinawa Te, Okinawan hand. However, this distinction gradually became blurred with the decline of Okinawa Te. Around 1905, when karate began to be taught in public schools in Okinawa, Tode was read kunyomi and called karate, tengen, in the Japanese style. Both Tode and karate are written in the same Chinese characters, meaning Tang, China, hand. But the former is onyomi, Chinese reading, and the latter is kunyomi, Japanese reading. Since the distinction between Okinawa Te and Tode was already blurred at that time, karate was used to encompass both. It should be noted, therefore, that Tode and karate, Tanghan, differ in scope of meaning of the words. Kara in kunyomi for the characters in onyomi, I don't and those characters there, which is derived from the Gaia Confederacy, and later included deriving from China. Te in kunyomi for the character shoot. Okay, I didn't I see the to there. Okay, shoot in onyomi, which means hand. The Tang dynasty of China ended in AD 907, but the kanji representing it remains in use in Japanese language, referring to China, generally in such words as Tojin Machi, meaning Chinatown. Thus, the word karate was originally a way of expressing martial art from China. Since are no written records, it is known definitely whether the kara in karate was originally with the character was that to? What was that? What character did we just learn that to be? Yeah, to, meaning China, or the character we haven't seen that character yet, meaning empty. Okay, so so history is directly once again uh contradicting Funakoshi. Funakoshi, what a guy. He's he's like the Hulk Hogan of karate. He sometimes you can't fucking listen to what he says, but he was a great man at the same time. During the time when admiration for China and things Chinese was at its height in the Rikyus, it was a custom for to use the former character when referring to things of fine quality influenced by this practice. In recent times, karate has begun to be written with the character to give it a sense of class or elegance. Gichin Fukanoshi. Yeah. Uh, However, the name change did not immediately spread among Okinawan karate practitioners. There were many karate practitioners, such as Shojun Miyagi, who still used te in everyday conversation until World War II. And just to let you know, Chojun Miyagi is the basis of the Miyagi in the Karate Kid, if you're wondering. When karate was first mentioned in mainland Japan in the 1920s, Jichin Fukanoshi and Matobu Choki used the name karate jutsu, tang hand art. So when they first began it, it was used by Fukanoshi tang hand to. So he wasn't using the other um, kanji that they would later change it to, along with karate. Along with karate, the word jutsu means art or technique, and in those days, so everybody that watches Naruto, they're talking about jutsu. That's their jutsu, their technique or their art. You know what I mean? Their style. The word jutsu means art or technique, and in those days, it was often used as a suffix to the name of each martial art, such as jujutsu and kenjutsu, swordsmanship. The first documented use of a homophone or of the ideogram pronounced kara by replacing the Chinese character meaning Tang Dynasty with the character meaning empty took place in the Karate Kumite, written in August 1905 by Chomo Hanishiro. In mainland Japan, the karate, empty hand, gradually became to be used from the writings of Gichin Fukanoshi and Choki in the 1920s. In 1929, the karate study group of Keio, Keio, Keio University instructor Gichin Fukanoshi used this term in reference to the concept of emptiness in the Heart Sutra. Heart Sutra. And this terminology was later popularized, especially in Tokyo. There is also a theory that the background for this name changed was the word for this name change was the worsening of Japan-China relations at the time. Whoa, let me read that again. There is also a theory that the background for the name change was the worsening of Japan-China relations at the time. Source: What's in a name? DuPaltsKarate.com. Okay. On October 25th, 1936, a roundtable meeting of karate masters was held in Naha, Okinawa Prefecture, and it was officially resolved to use the name karate, empty hand, in the sense of kushu kuken, without anything in the hands or fists. To commemorate this day, the Okinawan Prefectural Assembly passed a resolution in 2005 to decide. Oops, time to drink water. To decide October 25 as Karate Day. Another nominal development is the addition of do to the end of the word karate. Do is a suffix having numerous meanings, meaning road, path, route, and way. It is used in many martial arts that survived Japan's transition from the feudal culture to modern times. It implies that these arts are not just fighting systems, but contain spiritual elements when promoted as disciplines. In this do is usually translated as the way of. Examples include Aikido, Judo, Kyodo, and Kendo. Thus, Karate Do is more than just empty hand techniques. It is the way of the empty hand. I'm just literally reading the Wikipedia for people who don't seem to want to read this and have their own ideas. Since the 1980s, the term there's three katakana, there has been written in katakana. Yeah, just read forward, Arthur, instead of Chinese characters, mainly by Kyokushin Karate founder Matsutatsu Oyama. In Japan, katakana is mainly used for foreign words, giving Kyokushin Karate a modern and new impression. It's so artistic, man. Everything's so poetic. I love that. I love that there's all this ideas. Here is a chart made based on what they just wrote as a uh chronological chart showing the change of what is now karate and where it began as te, and how we now are at karate in the intermediate period where tode came in, which is Chinese martial arts, and now it became then it fusion together became karate, karate jutsu, just karate, and then now Kyokushin karate. But I guess karate, even though it's Kyokushin karate, some people don't include that with the karate. Why? Fucking knows, dude. Who knows? But maybe if we show other people, we can have a larger discussion that will get back to these people and show them the error of their ways of how just silly it is that we're arguing over something that we all like. We all like the fights. We are all enjoying the fights. There's very few people that are not enjoying the fights. Even the creator clash fights, those IFC fights, the they did a great job. I mean they're amateurs and they're bringing in eyes. They had as many viewers on their main event as the main event of the KC main card. That's crazy, and it happened after. So though these are amazing things that people are not fucking talking about, but they would rather discuss arbitrary standards which they want to implement them for them from their own subjective. We're reading the history, we're reading where it comes from China and a fusion of Japanese martial arts local, as I've already established in the in my own monologue, as well as Jesse Encamp's video. We see that there is just the name of something that's in fusion, that's in transition from another place to another place, and now we've called it another name. We're going to go into just how overlapping these martial arts are by side and side comparisons of their kata. But let's finish up here on the Wikipedia history. There are several theories regarding the origins of karate. So here we'll see that there's a couple of different theories that they want to discuss here. In Okinawa, there was a ancient martial arts dance called Mikata. Excuse me, and dancers dance to the accompaniment of songs and sanshin music, similar to karate kata. In Okinawa countryside, Mikata remained until the early 20th century. There is a theory that this Mikata with martial elements, te, was born and developed into karate. The theory is advocated by Anko Asato and his student Gichin Fukanoshi. Theory of the introduction by 36 families from Min. It is said that in 1932, a group of professional people known as the 36 families from Min migrated to the Kume village, now known as Kume Naha City in Naha, from Fujian province. Fujian province in the Ming Dynasty at that time. Fujian province being a place of many martial artists. There is so and in fact that is the place from which the beginning of Jesse Ancamp's documentary begins, is in Fujin. If you see the actual cover, it's talking about Fujin province. So once again, go there, check that out. Worth a listen to. They brought with them advanced learning and skills to Rikyu, and there is a theory that Chinese Kenpo, the origin of karate, was also brought to Rikyu at this time. There is also the Kecho import theory, which states that karate was brought to Rikyu after the invasion of Rikyu by the Satsuma domain, Kecho 1609, which, as well as the theory that it was introduced by Koshokun Okinawa Kusanku, based on the description of in Oshima writing. Other theories. There are other theories, such as it is developed from Okinawan sumo, or that it originated from jujutsu, which had been introduced from Japan. And probably is all of those things. That's how martial arts become. Martial arts are the synergy of what one dude learns in his lifetime and then passes on to his students, and he can call it a style and we can call it whatever, but those aren't the limitations of human possibility and use, and that style may not be a complete style. There may be more that could be developed from it, and we want to artificially freeze these styles and uh, and 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 forcefully say everyone else, oh no, you have to freeze too, you have to do it this way, when that's not how fucking fighting works. Okay. And to be totally honest, the way that traditional karate looks compared to now is completely different. Guys, we've basically gone over this portion of the history, but I would recommend you guys just read the Wikipedia. It's just like now you've read a small pamphlet on karate and you've expanded your understanding. I'm skipping all this. I'm skipping all this history. I'm skipping all this. I'm skipping all this. I'm just getting a little illustration of Fukanoshi versus Batobu versus the foreign boxer. My bad, guys. Um, there's Gichin Fukanoshi, obviously a bad looking man right there too. We're going down here. Fukanoshi changed the names of many kata and the name of the art itself, at least on mainland Japan, doing so to get karate accepted by the Japanese Budo organization, Dai Nippon Butoku Kai. Fukanoshi also gave Japanese names to many of the kata. The 5 Pinan forms became known as the Hien. The 3 Naihanchi forms became known as Teki. The Seisan as Hangetsu. Shinto as Gankaku, Wanshu as Enpi, and so on. These were also mostly political names, changes, rather than changes to the content of the forms, although Fukanoshi did not introduce some such changes. Fukanoshi had trained in 2 of the popular branches of Okinawa karate at the time, Shorin Ryu, which is basically Shaolin style Ryu right there, and Shorei Ryu, which is also a permutation of the word Shaolin, if I'm not mistaken. So these are 2 styles from Shaolin, guys. Okay, these encompass the styles of Fukanoshi, which become Shotokan. 2 styles from Shaolin. That's important for the next couple points. One of the points that I'm making up in the future. In Japan, he was influenced by kendo, incorporating some ideas about distancing and timing into his style. He also referred to what he taught as simply karate. But in 1936, he built a dojo in Tokyo, and the style he left behind is usually called Shotokan after this dojo. Shoto, meaning pine wave, was Fukanoshi's pen name, and kan, meaning hall. The modernization and systemization of karate in Japan also included the adoption of white uniform that consisted of the kimono and the dogi, or kekogi, as I said earlier, the dogi, mostly called just karategi, and colored belt ranks. So these are things that are modern implementation. Both of these innovations were originated and popularized by Jigoro Kano, the founder of Judo, and one of the men Fukanoshi consulted in his efforts to modernize karate. A new form of karate called Kyokushin was formally founded in 1957 by Matsu Tatsuyama, who was born in a Korean, Choi Young-yu. Kyokushin is largely a synthesis of Shotokan and Gyojo Ryu. It teaches a curriculum that emphasizes aliveness, physical toughness, and full contact sparring. Because of its emphasis on physical, full contact force sparring, right, full force sparring, Kyokushin is now called full contact karate or knockdown karate, after the name of its competition rules. Many other karate organizations and styles are descended from the Kyokushin curriculum. Whew, that was a lot of words in my mouth there. Last, I think, part or two that I'm going to be discussing here. Practice. Okay, karate can be called practice as a art, budo, self-defense, or as a combat sport. Traditional karate places an emphasis on self-development. Budo. Okay, so Budo is the spirit, right, of an art, which is self-development, and finding the way. Modern Japanese style training emphasizes the psychological elements incorporated into the proper kokoro attitude, such as perseverance, fearlessness, virtue, and leadership skills. Sport karate emphasizes Places emphasis. Oh man, I keep saying the emphasizes. That'll be more. I don't know, easier to read. Sport karate places emphasis on exercise and competition. Weapons are an important training activity in some styles of karate. Karate training is commonly divided into kihon, basics and fundamentals, kata, forms, and kumite sparring. All right, so we're gonna skip past all this. Obviously, you can guys go check it out. Okay, in August 2016, the International Committee approved karate as an Olympic sport beginning in the 2020 Summer Olympics. Karate also debuted in the 2018 Summer Youth Olympics. During this debut of karate in the Summer Olympics, 60 competitors from around the world competed in the kumite competition, and 20 competed in the kata competition. In September 2019, karate was included in a short list along with baseball, softball, skateboarding, surfing, and sports climbing to be considered for the inclusion of 2020 Summer Olympics. Okay, so back over here, karate will not be included in the 2024 Olympic Games, although it has made the short list for inclusion alongside 9 others in the 2028 Summer Olympics. Um, I wonder why the Olympic style of karate is not there anymore. Maybe it's losing interest. Karate, although not widely used in mixed martial arts, has been effective for some MMA practitioners. Various styles of karate are practiced in MMA. Lyoto Machida and John Medesi practice Shotokan. Bas Rutten and George St. Pierre train in Kyokushin. Michelle Watterson holds an black belt in American freestyle karate. Stephen Thompson practices American Kempo karate, and as well as uh, different styles of kickboxing. And Robert Whitaker practices Goju Ryu. Ranks. Okay, last thing I believe it was. Okay, no, styles was going to be the last thing. Okay, where are we at? An hour and 8 minutes. Okay. In Karate Do Kyohan, Fukanoshi quoted from the Heart Sutra, which is a prominent Shingon Buddhism. Form is emptiness. Emptiness is form itself. Shiku Zokyozi Kuku Zokuzi Shiki. I'm butchering that. He interpreted the kata of karate do to mean to purge oneself of selfish and evil thoughts, for only with a clear mind and conscience can the practitioner understand the knowledge which he receives. Fukanoshi believed that one should be inwardly humble and outwardly gentle. Only by behaving humbly can one be open to karate's many lessons. This is done by listening and being receptive to criticism. You guys hearing that? Being receptive to criticism of your fucking terrible fucking critiques. He considered you can't fucking tell these people. That's why we're going through the entire Wikipedia here. He considered courtesy of prime importance. He said that karate is properly applied only in those rare situations in which one really must either down another or be downed by him. Fukanoshi did not consider it unusual for a devotee to use karate in real physical confrontation, no more than perhaps once in a lifetime. He stated that karate practitioners must never be easily drawn into a fight. It is understood that one blow from a real expert could mean death. It is clear that those who misuse what they have learned bring dishonor upon themselves. He promoted the character trait of personal conviction. In time of grave public crisis, one must have courage to face 1,000,001 opponents. He taught that indecisiveness is weakness. Okay, karate is divided into many styles. Each of their different training methods, focuses, and cultures, though they mainly originate from the historical Okinawan parent styles of Nahate, Toromarte, and Shurite. In the modern era, the major styles of karate are considered to be Goju-ryu, Shotokan, Shito-ryu, and Wado-ryu. These 4 styles are those recognized by the WKF, or World Karate Federation, for international kata competition. Other internationally recognized styles include, but are not limited to, guys, Chito-ryu, Gosoku-ryu, Ishin-ryu, Kokyokushin, Metobu Ryu, Shorin Ryu, Shukokai, Uchi Ryu. I don't know if I said that right. Um, so some people say that only these four should be allowed to be in karate combat because of some arbitrary federation called the World Karate Federation. But we are but what about all these down here? What about the many styles like Kyokushin, who are like the hard styles that for a long time carried forward karate in physical martial arts competition, whether it be MMA or kickboxing, etc. Dutch kickboxing does include some Kyokushin, and yeah, there's tons of styles. Where does the line exist? Do we use the philosophical nature forward by Fukanoshi? Do we use the arbitrary definitions of one organization? Do we use a stagnant, frozen picture in time of 100 years ago? Or do we be true to the character of what it is, and it is martial arts and the way of training an empty hand, and it originates in China, you know what I mean, or in part, and is a fusion of styles. Why is it that other styles that fuse karate, or one style of karate, or many styles of karate with other things like boxing, why is that a problem when karate itself is a fusion of styles? And in fact, these stylistic choices like the dogi and the belt system are all arbitrary, in place because someone else, Jigoro Kano from judo, who I also respect. Dr. Kano is a great man who created the Kodokan and the judo, which has been severely changed since his death because of things like this, the Olympic training, where we have a style of karate fighting that is very, very young. These very young styles from modern competition, which are worth learning and understanding, but by no means is the encompassing factor of all karate. It's not. It is new. It is not anything like you would see any of the old styles that are square once again, and have a lower hand set, using throws and joint locks, and going for the ground and pound on the ground, which many of the same detractors will also put down. Oh, ground and pound. How is a woman going to inkinsatsu somebody? They ain't inkinsatsuing nobody, but they can catch somebody on a good fucking counter coming in or with a blitz, knocked into the ground, and finish them with the ground and pound or stomps or soccer kicks to the head. But such things can't be discussed because it has to be inkinsatsu, like a woman can inkinsatsu anyone but maybe another woman. Okay? Um, and the style of Olympic training is not enough for preparing for a real fight. That being said, why does it have to be that way in karate combat? That is an arbitrary choice. It's an aesthetic and arbitrary choice. We have the same dogi, we have the same belts, we have the same um, philosophy and aesthetic that karate is joining, while allowing fusion styles to compete under the karate combat rule set. And this is supposed to push karate forward. Karate does not have to stay in no one likes it in the Olympic land, because it's fucking, while useful and point sparring not being a bad thing, and being able to be that good at that one thing is not bad, it is incomplete as a karate fucking style, and is not preparing people for real fighting. And karate combat is doing that. That's a real fucking fight, and preparing yourself for real fucking situations. And it may not be like full all stand up fighting, but traditional karate didn't have all just full up stand up fighting. You know what I mean? And it's still emphasizing the stand up, with takedowns, because there is such thing as a follow-up strike even in old karate competitions, which we'll see in a moment. But that all being said, we're they people who are fucking saying that this isn't karate and karate combat are appealing to a fucking arbitrary standard that they can't prove. Even according to karate's history and invent and cultivation, it's a several styles cultivated into one from different areas, including Tode or Shorin Ryu, which is Shaolin style from China. So it's like, oh, this has to be Japanese. No, okay, well, it's from Shaolin. So here is another style that I think somebody was complaining about. Not I think was complaining about being included in karate combat. Look, they've got more bladed style. They're bouncy. They're wearing all the same fucking um, equipment that a karateka would wear in a point scoring match. Oh, there we go. Nice takedown. They include takedowns, and this style is called Sanda. It's currently taught at Shaolin, the modern Shaolin temple, which is where modern karate comes from. They see if you see the lifting of that front leg, they also use side kicks. Look, oh, boom! He almost caught the side kick, but he got out. Isn't It's very similar to what we might see in the kickboxing events at a Waco event or a U.S. Open. This more bladed style with side kicks, and he obviously went for the leg, and there's some hands being thrown there, and there's also takedowns. Why that's not allowed in many of the karate competitions, I don't know. Why modern karate has no joint locks? I'm sorry, I use harsh language, so I'm trying to not use so many. But why there is no emphasis on any of the competition for it, and when you include a little bit, everybody starts complaining is insane. We should be learning how to be complete karatekas, complete fighters, and things don't stop when all the time with one shot. You have to have be properly planned. Nice, 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 nice. Anyway, I'm gonna get addicted to watching this fight. Here we're on the Taekwondo Wikipedia. Taekwondo, also spelled Taekwondo or Taekwondo, is a Korean martial art and combat sport involving punching and kicking techniques. The literal translation of Taekwondo is kicking, punching, and the art of way. Art or of the or way of. So the art of kicking and punching. The kick punching way. It sometimes involves the use of weapons. Taekwondo practitioners wear a uniform known as a dobak, which is exactly like a dogi, and is a combat sport which was developed in the 1940s and 1950s by Korean martial artists with experience in martial arts such as karate and Chinese martial arts. Once again, it's a fusion of martial arts. The oldest governing body for Taekwondo is the Korea Taekwondo Association, formed in 1959 through the collaborative efforts by representatives from the 9 original kwans or martial arts schools in Korea. The main international organizational body. Okay, all right. Okay, the governing body for Taekwondo in the Olympics and is the World Taekwondo. Okay, so people are still more excited to watch Olympic Taekwondo than they are to watch Olympic Karate, and that's a gosh darn shame that they're not going to even be in the next Olympics this year. So I mean, the writing's on the wall, guys. If you're gonna stay stagnant and just say, "Oh, it has to be like this is the only way," um, being like absolutely connected to just one philosophical point as opposed to the entire encompassing system is pretty crazy. Oh, it was, uh, one shot, one shot only, one kill. I mean, but that why would you have the rest of the system? Like, if you don't, then you have to be able to follow up, defend yourself, and be ready for their counterattack. You can't be a naive moron. Okay, that's not what the style is teaching, and people like Lyoto Machida get that. And then we have forward movement in the style instead of a stagnant picture of something that happened a long time ago, where now there's more ability to develop your style against other styles and fighters. Okay, everybody, this is where I'm going to end it. This is where we're going to finish it off here. Body Harma, right here. Body Dharma, Body Harma, from the Shaolin Temple, AD. Okay, martial arts, Prince Shotoku, ninjutsu. Oops, ninjutsu, Japan, 600 AD. Okay. From all this, you can basically say that the red is coming from um, Bodhidharma, right? You know what I mean? Direct lineage. And the blue you could say is coming from this guy. Okay, I guess that's what they're trying to say. Nonetheless, let's look through it here. Kung Fu leads to karate. Simple as that. Where all these other Kenpo, Taekwondo, Kyokushin, Kyo, and so on are also karate. It's under the karate umbrella. The same people produce Wing Chun, Chikundo, Sanda, okay? Jujutsu. Also, there is some type of connection there that they're not putting because this also added to karate, and obviously judo had influence on karate, and native wrestling had connection, and they're fighting people. Matoba's fighting people like boxing, so they're adjusting their style. In kenjutsu, they also study kenjutsu. And their hapkido. Their hapkido says it's just coming from aikido, but we also know that they knew some of the tang hand. You got hapkido also is made in tandem with tang sudo, tang hand. You know what I'm saying? Um, so none of these connections seem to be being made in the detractor's mind. It's all just this is the only thing. Oops, I didn't get it. This is the only thing. Everything else doesn't exist. And if you try to compete against it in there, oh my gosh, how dare you? No. Now it's all ruined. It's all ruined because one person came inside here, or three or four person, even though the majority are still karate, and the people that are saying are not karate because had some karate experience and they're fighting in the karate rule set in a karate environment. Oh, it's karate. It's karate at that point. If a karateka, which has happened, if a karateka goes in boxes, does that make end boxing? If a Muay Thai fighter goes and boxes, does that make boxing Muay Thai? Does it ruin the reputation of boxing? There have been great karatekas and great Muay Thai fighters that were national, if not world champions. And does that disqualify them as karatekas? These are just different sports and different types of fighting. Fighting is fighting. We're putting a style rule set and then you fight there. If you fight under the karateka, karate combat rule set, you are a karateka now. You're fighting in a karate combat. Kumite. If someone from another style of Muay Thai went to a WKF competition and they fight the karate WKF rules, they are a karateka. That's how that is. That's plain and simple. You just don't wear shorts that say Muay Thai. You have shorts that say kickboxing, or whatever. And it's all silly when you get down to it because this is about fighting. This is about fighter spirit. People were complaining about the crypto influencer fights when they showed more fighter spirit than some of the people on the main card. Looking at you, Alves, who fucking does backflips at the end of the fight and not ready to fight that third round and these people who only fight 2 rounds, they're ready to go in that third round. They're going. That last fight was amazing. We can't I don't understand how the minds of these people are working if they really like karate combat. What they really like to do is complain. They don't have any idea of the origin of karate, its roots in a fusion of multiple other martial arts, its origin in Shaolin. Like I'm not even going to go into American kickboxing, which literally is developed from all right, we're gonna do karate and we're gonna box, kickboxing. You're welcome. That's karate. Like you can't. But to say that's not karate, as this gentleman one opportunity or whatever his fucking name was saying, and we'll see him again in these fucking posts in these videos. What the fuck are you talking about? Am I going insane? Can anyone out there fucking agree or disagree with me and tell me why I'm wrong? The once you stop fighting by the rules and you start making these arbitrary rules that aren't able to be implied even within the karate community itself to make it, oh, that's karate, it becomes a shit show and you become an elitist and a cultist. um I'm gonna end here with my final thoughts. So as I close here, I'm gonna put on some sabaki karate highlights. This is from this World Sabaki Challenge from back in the 80s. Let's see the follow up punch on the ground. All karate. I think this is more of a demonstration. This is not them actually exchanging. This is just a little. There we go. Here we go. Now we're fine. Oof, knocked out. Ooh, that spin kick. So the Sabaki Challenge. This is this. Oh, he's got that. That's a kempo guy. Ooh. So these competitions, they existed back in the day and they could still exist if someone wanted to have those happen. And I think that it would be within an awesome thing to do to get like a feeder organization into karate combat, something like this, you know what I mean, or even hold periodic um like tournaments like this, like they had the kumite but like tournaments like this for new talent. You know what I mean? I think that's awesome. Um, the styles of all these fighters are so varied and different, and how they do it is so varied and different. And no one complained. The fighters are not complaining, oh, that's not karate. And the audience and the fighters and the audience I talk to, they're like, they're not complaining it's not karate. And to get other fighters and to immerse themselves in the karate um, atmosphere for them to understand we shouldn't be shitting on them. We should be welcoming them into the karate um, culture. But what's left in the karate culture, because many people have left it, unfortunately, compared to the booms that it had before, it's seen like a restoration. But a lot of people are being distaste for it is because they don't want to learn grappling. They don't want the takedowns. They don't want to. They don't want to. And the as far as martial arts competition goes back, they have had sweeps and takedowns and acting like these things don't happen. And oh you shouldn't do ground and pound. And look, ground and pound, boom. You know what I mean? Now we're just, instead of stopping it there, we're gonna let it keep going and let them keep fighting. And if they're actually out, then they'll stop it. You know what I mean? Or they tap out, or they give. That's it. But let's not fucking act like um the ground and pound didn't exist. Let's not act like joint locks and grappling doesn't exist. So all right, we'll separate that, have it a little thing on the side. Stop acting like little children about having grappling like it's not a part of karate and saying, "Oh, this is not karate." You can't say that people who do kung fu are not karate, because that's the same thing. It's from the same place. It has the same modalities. It has the same katas in some places. Oh yeah, I forgot to do that. Let's do that right now. These will be different three styles of karate simultaneously side by side. Oh, I guess not simultaneously. Oh, man, I thought I had one of those simultaneous. Needless to say, as that plays in the background, you'll see the overlapping and how similar they are, using the same katas, going to do the same thing, and just performed a different way. This goes back all the way to China, and that's okay. Now, if we're going to arbitrarily not allow people to compete and be like purists and not allow people who are trying to compete there and welcoming them into the karate atmosphere who are fighters is was plain disrespectful, honestly, and it's obvious that people haven't understood what experience really means and what it deserves in terms of respect and understanding. Um, and while we can arbitrarily try to put our own standard to it, we have to have a more historically based standard, which sees a fusion of many martial arts, with the explosion being when they put uh, well accomplished other martial artists against them in a open competition, referring to Motobu Choki versus the foreign boxer, and it it's putting them on a stage for everyone to fight, not unlike what they did in Motobu's time when they fought on raised platforms, or in Sanda, or in the days of Kung Fu, but a literal, but a more figurative, rather, uh, higher place to be seen on social media, and because people are trying to see what it looks like for a boxer like Masabo or other kinds of styles to go against the karateka, and then to be in that karate style, fight in that karate style, and then and also be a part of that karate culture. No one seems to be giving that hospitality that should be given and respect that should be given. Instead, we're like, oh, it's supposed to be karate combat, and what it was originally intended to is not happening, and there's fighters that are not karateka, and then and I've there was even people that are complaining about the different styles of karate that people were like taekwondo, as we've seen. Like, there's not, that's just a sample. I showed only two people, but there are many people complaining about this. Are these legitimate complaints? Put it down in the description. Thank you for watching all the way through. Stay up, stay blessed, stay locked and loaded. Shalom, shalom, peace in.